Dominicans living in St. Thomas raised over 50,000 EC dollars for Dominica. The Ministry of Education launches Early Childhood Education Month 2015 and Dominica remembers ex-servicemen on Remembrance Day 2015. Thank you for joining us on another edition of National Focus. I'm Kimani Saint-Jean.
And I'm Jarna Hector. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after the break.
Thanks for staying with us. Dominicans living in St. Thomas have contributed more than 50,000 EC dollars towards Dominica's tropical storm Erica recovery efforts. Diaspora Liaison Officer, who is also chairperson of the Dominica Disaster Relief Committee based in St. Thomas, Lauren Barnes-Roberts, was at the ceremony on Monday accompanied by other committee members. Barnes-Roberts says after tropical storm Erica, Dominicans living in St. Thomas took immediate action to assist. She says the storm intensified the patriotic spirit of Dominicans living in St. Thomas.
For those of us who reside overseas, and in particular in the United States Virgin Islands, we used the opportunity to mobilize the local community, sensitize the general public, and readily played our part to help in the recovery and rebuilding process. Tropical Storm Erica awakened our patriotic spirit. This morning, we are here because of the efforts of the government and people of the United States Virgin Islands, the corporate citizens, and the head, hearts, and hands of Dominicans living in St. Thomas, and by the grace of God. On August 27, 2015, upon realizing that Tropical Storm Erica was a disaster of epic proportion, as liaison officer for the diaspora, I immediately called on some key Dominicans living in St. Thomas to attend a meeting to plan our course of action on how we could respond as Dominicans living in St. Thomas. The attendance was tremendous.
Barnes-Roberts explained that at that meeting, the Dominica Disaster Relief Committee was formed. The response was also positive from the government of the U.S. Virgin Islands. The government of Dominica received 33,379 EC dollars. The Honorable Acting Prime Minister, Dr. John Colin McIntyre, accepted the funds on government's behalf.
I want you to take this message back to our people in St. Thomas, especially our Dominicans, to say to them that we are very, very happy of what they have done, the efforts, the road runners, as you mentioned, the band splashes, the cultural activities, you name it, they went out there. And this is something we have seen, and it brings a certain amount of togetherness of our people, our Dominican people. Yes, you may hear of the negativity, you know, by certain forces and whatnot, but that's not going to slow us down. The important thing here today is to really take time to understand the togetherness that exists with Dominicans, both locally as well as Dominicans living out there. And we can always come together, we always come together for the common cause of building Dominica.
$19,280 US in checks were presented to 6 village councils and the government of Dominica. Each village council, that is those of the hardest hit areas of Petit Savan, Coliho, Culibestry, Good Hope, Buetica, and Delis, received about 3,075 EC dollars.
This contribution today will go a long way in terms of accelerating the recovery efforts in Culibestry. To date, we are not satisfied as to how far we are, and I'm sure this contribution will seek to have us, you know, create some sort of impetus, because we feel that the process of dredging the river is way too slow, and Culibestry has too much soil at this stage. So I'm sure that this contribution is going to assist us quite a long way in getting this process accelerated.
In addition to these cash donations, Dominicans in the U.S. Virgin Islands also donated 3 40-foot containers of relief supplies, building materials, and tools.
We have certain things we want to do, and we really can't do it right now because the lack of funds. Because the government receiving money, but they have to know where they put in the money. So it's taking a little time, but just receiving that today, we know exactly where we're going to put this money. The river is being dredged. And we want to thank the government for that, because if it wasn't for the dredging of the river, we know it would be more problem. Because just last night I stayed up and I watched the river raise real high, but just because the dredge river, it just stay how it's supposed to stay.
Meantime, nearly 3 months after Tropical Storm Erica, the community of Petit Savan waits patiently to be reunited as one community. GIS News spoke with Chairman of the Petit Savan Village Council, Edward Thomas, on Monday morning. Thomas had just received a $3,000 donation on his council's behalf from the Dominica Disaster Relief Committee of St. Thomas. Thomas says although these are challenging times for the people of the Petit Savan community and for the council, every member of Petit Savan must remain patient and in high spirits. Government has identified 10 possible locations for the resettlement of the people of Petit Savan. These locations are still being assessed for safety. The village council chairman asked the people of his community to remain patient while government deliberates.
It's very difficult to move on and very difficult to get used to this situation. But I believe they are doing their best to accept it as it is and try to move on. But like I said, it is difficult, and I know people are getting, restless, people are getting frustrated, people are impatient, in terms of we being relocated, permanently. But I must say these things will take a little time. I mean, we cannot just like chuck Petit Savan people into some place and next thing, the same thing has to happen over again, and people are not happy with where they are. And it's, again, in terms of our relocation, one of the things I always say we have to take into consideration is the livelihood of the people. What did we do for a living? So it's going to take a little time. I know people are getting impatient and all of that, but still we have to bear with it and accept things as they are.
The community is also part of the discussion. However, the final decision will ultimately be guided by viability reports from experts. The chairperson had this message for the people of his community.
I must say to them that those of us, who think of going back home, that's one thing that is ringing in a lot of people's head. I must say to them that government has declared the place unsafe. We cannot live there no more. We have to accept it, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how hard it is.
So, Kimani, you had the opportunity to speak with the village council chairman of the Petit Savan Village Council. What did he share with you?
Yes, I did speak with him this morning, Jarna, after he received his check.
Right. And
he was really grateful for the assistance, like the other village council chairman. He spoke a lot about the community and, people being in different places. He spoke about, wanting the people from the Petit Savan community to remain patient while government, deliberates, while they look for a suitable location for the people of Petit Savan to resettle. He spoke about the people still being in high spirits, even if it's a challenging time for them. Yeah. They're still hopeful. And he did have words of encouragement for the people. He asked those who were probably considering returning to Petit Savan not to have this as an option because, government has declared the place unsafe, for people to return. So these are just some of the areas that he spoke about. Yeah.
Did he mention any specific challenges that his council or the community face?
I think the most challenging thing for him is being able to meet with his other council members to discuss with them, to chat a way forward for the community, to talk about the needs of the people of the community. So because everyone is not in one central location, they're not in one community, obviously, there are different homes in different parts of Dominica. That's the most challenging thing. But he did say that they meet every 2 weeks at the stadium to give relief supplies to members of the community. So that's when he gets the chance to speak to his council members and he gets a chance to speak with other persons from Petit Savan. But all in all, it was very encouraging, to speak with him and to know that the people, they're still in high spirits, they're still patient, they're listening, they're following orders basically, and they're just waiting patiently to resettle.
And like that, I get a sense of hope and a sense of togetherness from what you're saying and what the council chairman is saying. Even from the St. Thomas donation, we still have that spirit of community, and literally Petit Savan has that spirit of community even if they're spread out. So I think, there's hope.
Yeah. Definitely,
All is not lost.
definitely. I asked him, if there's a message that he wants to send out to the people, and one of the things that he said, he asked them to remain strong, to remain patient, and one thing he said that Petit Savan will rise again.
I like that.
Yeah. Moving on, as Dominica recovers from Tropical Storm Erica, the young ones are being encouraged to help in the rebuilding process. The Ministry of Education is hosting Early Childhood Education Month this November under the theme Rebuilding Dominica Together, beginning with the early childhood development. The month's observance began with an address by the Honorable Acting Minister for Education, Kelva Daru.
We need to inculcate in our children from this tender age a sense of patriotism, a great love of country. You will agree that once this is achieved, no task will be too great for our children to undertake through love of country, be it as little ones or as adults tomorrow. Being cognizant that we must instill this love from a tender age, we in the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development have ensured that there is something to constantly inform, remind, affirm and reaffirm in our children now and in the future that they are special Dominican children.
The Honorable Minister says another way the children can assist in rebuilding the country is through environmental sensitivity.
I speak here of properly disposing and recycling the large volume of water bottles that are being used now as a consequence of Tropical Storm Erica. Teach our children to use these bottles during their play at preschool and in their preschool gardens. Let us ensure that these little ones have their own preschool gardens, even if it means that their crops are planted in containers. Let us involve them in replenishing some of the crops that have been destroyed by Tropical Storm Erica. In doing so, we will be teaching our little ones from a tender age to love and appreciate the blessing of our rich and fertile soil. We will be instilling in them a love for agriculture, and we will be bringing practical meaning to our national motto, Apwe Body, C'est la Terre.
A number of preschools are being accommodated in surrounding buildings.
Despite the physical damage, the Collio Preschool is being accommodated at the Dubla Preschool. The Kolibistri Preschool is housed in the Salisbury Primary School. The Delis Preschool is at the Youth Center in Delis. The Petit Savan Preschool is being housed at the Education Complex in Baffin State, and the Pichle Preschool is being accommodated at the primary school in Grand Bay. Let me, on behalf of the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development, extend sincere gratitude to all those who are and are still making contributions and accommodations possible.
Activities for the month of November include District Church Services, Family Focus Week beginning November 16th, and a Grand Pumpkin Exhibition. Community Outreach Day is scheduled for November 20th, International Men's Day for November 19th, and Universal Children's Day for November 20th.
On Sunday, November 8th, 2015, the Commonwealth of Dominica observed Remembrance Day, taking time to honor the servicemen and women who died in World Wars I and II, and to remember the survivors. Ministers of Government, the Honorable Speaker of the House of Assembly, His Excellency the President of Dominica, Charles Savre and Mrs. Savre, and President of the Dominica Legion and his wife were part of the event. 2 minutes of silence was observed in honor of the fallen. The last post was performed by a trumpeter in the Music Lovers Government Band, followed by the laying of the wreaths on the cenotaph where the names of Dominicans who perished in both wars are inscribed. The opening prayer was done by President of the Dominica Christian Council, and President of the Dominica Legion, Shelford Paquette, made a brief statement.
We honor the men and women who served during the 2 world wars and were the most devastating in the history of mankind, who gave us our freedom. We join the nations of the world in remembering those brave men and women who gave their lives for us and other nations of great deliverance. We shall remember them.
After the singing of hymns and the sounding of the reveille, His Excellency the President, accompanied by the President of the Dominica Legion, inspected the contingent of ex-servicemen and women of the Dominica Legion. The ceremony concluded with a march past the dignitaries. You're watching National Focus. Coming up, Grotto Home, get you ready to move.
Introducing the Government of Dominica Internal Directory mobile app. Available for download from the Google Play Store, One Mobile Market, and the Government of Dominica's website. Access to all ministries and sub-departments' phone, email and office addresses and websites. Simply select a ministry and the sub-department. You can dial directly from the app or save the numbers to your phone contacts. It's convenience at your fingertips.
Is my passport ready for pickup? Good. It really works.
Download the Government of Dominica Internal Directory mobile app today.
Residents of the Grotto Home for the Homeless can look forward to relocating to their new home in Belverol this Christmas. The board members are taking all measures to have the residents move by that time. President of Grotto Home for the Homeless, Ainsworth Irish, says there are still challenges which need to be addressed before the board gives the green light to relocate.
Mr. and Mistress Hart recently just pledged some $30,000 towards the fencing of the new grotto. Actually, I think they made a check available to A.H. Charles to ensure that that is done, because that has been one of the drawbacks in one of the logistical problems we've been experiencing in not moving up to the new grotto is because of lack of fencing. That's one aspect of it.
Government donated close to $700,000 to the project. The organization has so far received $500,000 in cash and kind donations, and more is still forthcoming. Parry Bellot is Public Relations Officer for the Grotto Home.
We have been trying to move for the last 12 months, and there have been a lot of drawbacks. But again, Mr. Bellot explained some of the logistical problems we've been having. But I can tell you, in my personal view, I believe the residents will be more comfortable at the new surroundings. Because the grotto, the old grotto here, we moved there in 2010, and that we were given that space for about 3 years. And since then we have spent, well, the government of Dominica have spent in excess of $60,000 doing repairs into the old grotto. We do not want that to happen again, because the place is really, honestly, very derelict. And if we can move to the new site, and all efforts are being made, as Mr. Bellot indicated, to move shortly before Christmas. I think we are trying our best, and if all being equal, we should move before Christmas.
Operating costs for the non-profit organization total $121,000 annually. The organization is calling on the public to continue making their contributions to those most in need. The Grotto Home for the Homeless began operations in 1988.
The Honorable Minister for Health, Dr. Kenneth Daru, has revealed that a new Medical Professional Act will be tabled in Parliament soon. The Health Minister says this is to have medical professionals take more responsibility for their actions. Speaking at a press conference last month, Honorable Daru said that his ultimate goal is to have Dominicans re-establish trust and confidence in medical professionals.
There has to be a more rigid, a better scrutinized system to hold people accountable and, as I said, responsible and holding to what they're being paid to do. And the new Health Act is after pouring through it, I have reassured myself and satisfied myself that it's going to take, it's going to address a lot of these issues that you just mentioned in terms of when somebody dies, a proper investigation, not just by the courts, even before it reaches the court. I think internally that a whole review should be done as to the circumstances in terms of what happened.
Health Liaison Officer Dr. Martin Christmas gives more detail about the act.
This Medical Professions Act, as it's going to be called by change, would involve a number of changes, including subtle changes like shifting from the name of the medical board to the medical council, and as Dr. Daru very correctly mentioned, it would hold medical professionals more accountable and be able to guarantee the public that persons who offer medical services will be held to that level of responsibility and have to provide adequate responsible care and be answerable for their actions. Also, it would really be looking very closely at guaranteeing the Dominican public and anyone else who makes use of our health services here that the services will be at a certain standard. There will be some level of uniformity across the board. So, of course, particular reference here being made to criteria for registration, licensing, and guaranteeing the quality of professional that is placed out there to serve the public.
And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à ces nouvelles en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, organisation Dominica Disaster Relief Committee, St. Thomas, fait donation l'argent pour le gouvernement Dominique. L'argent ça en permis d'autres à présenter pendant une cérémonie en l'occasion Financial Center en Wozo. Mon qui a une position comme Premier ministre Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre, où est-ce que l'argent là, officier liaison Lauren Barnes Roberts.
Jodi à nous joindre et puis un groupe qui sorti de St. Thomas avec liaison officer Lauren Barnes menacé moun la jodi à pour joindre puis nous tapé jodi à yo présenter des chèques pour gouvernement qui ça c'est $12,300 US. Avec l'argent ça c'est pour le gouvernement Dominique pour aider et puis tout ça dommage qui fait Erika t'est passé ça c'est tropical sun Erika moi quand représenter as premier ministre acting ça m'a dit aujourd'hui c'est nous bien contents nous qu'a dit bien merci avec nous qu'a parler pour tous ces monde là à Saint Thomas ça c'est Dominica qui a vivre là ça c'est monde là mais oui qui a vivre à Saint Thomas avec tout le monde tout là et puis gouvernement gouverneur Saint Thomas as well aussi avec sénateur Marvin qui tout ça il fait pour nous à Dominique nous savons ça nous taper nous savons qui qualité de dommage qui fait aujourd'hui so avec yo aussi yo bah c'est toutes ces village council toutes ces places là qui étaient tapé mauvais dommage parce que Petite Savane Goudou Cassibros Coliho Boutika Delis toutes ces monde tap village council yo tapé un petit l'argent aujourd'hui pour aider et puis tout ça pour comme c'est faire bail pour manger à ces village ça.
Honorable McIntyre dit un grand merci à ce compte gouvernement Dominique.
So aujourd'hui moi quand représenter premier ministre Roselle Skerrit moi prime minister avec moi dit bien merci pour tous ces monde qui ça tout ça yo fait comme c'est des band show roadrunner cultural activity toutes ces qualités ba ça pour aider gouvernement Dominique avec douleur à l'aide de nous toujours nous n'y on travail pour nous moi parler pour tout Dominique pour nous venir à ça plus fort pour redévelopper Dominique because nous pas ça fait bagaille comme si c'est comme si Erika pas passé Erika passé avec dit nous ne pour venir à Sam à dans yon monde yon pays yon flag pour nous lever Dominique pour nous faire Dominique plus fort plus meilleur pour tout le monde.
Alors nouvelle ministre environ bien concerné quantité bouteilles qui environ là depuis on l'eau rentré depuis Erika. Parole celle-là sortie au secrétaire parlement en ministre santé honorable Ivor Stevenson.
Moi les année des anti compte situation actuellement après storm Erika. Ça nous qui après storm Erika Dominique receive autant différents relief supplies et puis dans ces bails ça nous receive c'est autant bouteilles pan souliers had autant différents bails mais ça qui est actuellement plus concerne nous dans le ministère de santé c'est quantité bouteilles plastique qui est actuellement en Dominique et puis ces bouteilles ça là même c'est vrai qu'on nous receive et puis nous pour complémenter ces différentes organisations qui voient ces bouteilles descendent qui n'est glo et puis différents bagailles nous qui actuellement il a fait autant de problèmes pour nous arrivons.
Selon honorable Stevenson, mon suppose point responsabilité manière yo ka déposer ces bouteilles ça là.
Ces bouteilles plastique ça là. C'est vrai nous recevons mais c'est monde là qui j'ai servi yo. Différents monde dans l'école dans public différents monde qui ont différents cailloux ça nous qui nous pas prendre responsabilité pour qui nous disposer ces bagages ça bien
et puis il fait autant de problèmes pour nous en arrivant.
À la nouvelle, ministre de la Santé, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, représentait Dominique en meeting par Kitchen en Washington. Ministre Darrow dit plaisir bagaille qu'a continué pays qui a développé, discuter.
Maintenant, c'était just après Tropical Storm America, il y avait whole conversation climate change avec health, avec santé. Nous on est pour commencer à garder issue climate change pas qu'on séparate topic mais effect climate change can en la santé, en le tourisme, en l'infrastructure, parce que nous-mêmes ouais ça Tropical Storm America fait si nous te préparé nous qu'on pays nous pas préparé pour manager nous fait ça nos TP mais nous ne pour actuellement garder pour resources c'est donors là c'est pays plus développe because you need un responsabilité pour contribuer pour un des pays qu'on nous smaller and developing states.
Et puis finalement, le système Wi-Fi qui est lancé en jardin botanique est ouvert toute la journée. Parole ça la sortie du ministre Telecoms, Honorable Kelvin Darrow.
L'autre bagage c'est internet là qui est hot gardens là. Il est ouvert ça 6 am les gardens là les ouvert et puis il est fermé 7 pm les jardins là fermés et puis nous les disons pour venir là, pas faire problème, et puis enjoy ça, nous mener la base.
Messieurs et mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, your tip of the day. Reinventing yourself is something many of us long to do. Maybe we're not happy with ourselves or we don't feel that we've ever fulfilled our potential. But reinventing yourself is entirely possible if you really want to be a new you. So here's an ace tip for when you decide to reinvent yourself.
One of the attributes that we're not taught is self-belief. It's important to have self-confidence and believe that you are capable of achieving whatever you want. Reinventing yourself means getting rid of those doubts if you are going to achieve your goal of becoming what you want to be. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm.
Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter @GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News Desk, I'm Jarna Hector.
And I'm Kimani. Thanks for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.